So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. The idea is very simple. We want you to inculcate this habit of practicing MCQs from current affairs on a daily basis. It's a very good habit to have because through this habit, you not only revise your current affairs, you also get the much needed MCQ practice, which would come in really handy for your prelims examination whenever you appear for it. Okay, so make sure you make this lecture series a part of your daily routine. And we shall begin today's session starting with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding India's semiconductor mission. Launched in 2021 by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology to make India self-reliant in semiconductor manufacturing. The mission has allowed India to have 6 commercially operable fabrication units. Total budgetary outlay of this mission is rupees 76,000 crore. Now listen. Electronics is something that dominates 21st century. We all are surrounded by electronic items. Electronic items are everywhere. Now, all these electronic items run through chips, electronic chips. And these electronic chips are basically semiconductor chips. Now, a country that is not self-reliant when it comes to manufacturing of these chips would always remain vulnerable with respect to the supply of these chips. That country would always remain dependent on the country that produces these chips. So India wants to be self-reliant in this. And that is why we have launched India Semiconductor Mission, launched in 2021 by Ministry of Electronics to make India self-reliant in semiconductor manufacturing. Now, chips manufacturing or semiconductor manufacturing is of two types. Okay, fabrication. Fabrication means you are building these electronic chips from scratch, from raw material. Okay, and then is assembling. Assembling means chips are manufactured. The complicated part is done. Designing of chips, manufacturing of chips is done. Now you have to arrange them in a particular order in an electronic device. That is assembling. So this is the easier part. This is the tough part. Okay. Now, so far, India has some projects under this mission which are assembling project. But the complicated thing is yet not operational. Okay. So far, India does not have any fabrication unit where chips are manufactured from scratch. Though an announcement has been made in Dholera, a plant will be created, fabrication plant, which will be managed by Tata. But it is still not operational. So there are no 6 commercially viable fabrication units. There are some assembling units, but not fabrication units. There is no fabrication unit. Okay. And the entire budgetary outlay of India Semiconductor Mission is 76,000 crores. So this part is correct. Only 2 statements are correct. The answer is B. Okay. Question number 2. Consider the following statements regarding Chandrayaan 5. It is a joint project between space agencies of India and Japan. ISRO is developing Chandrayaan 5's rover, whereas JAXA is building 350 kg lander. Also known as LUPEX, Lunar Polar Exploration, it shall also carry payloads from European Space Agency and NASA. Like Chandrayaan 4, it is a sample return mission. Okay, so you all know that we successfully completed Chandrayaan 3. Now ISRO was thinking about Chandrayaan 4, which is another ambitious project. It is basically a sample return mission. You understand a sample return mission? We will land a spacecraft on moon. We will collect some samples and then launch that spacecraft from moon back to Earth. Okay, so this is very ambitious. It is still in pipeline. And apart from Chandrayaan 4, we are also working on a joint project called Chandrayaan 5. Okay, it is called Chandrayaan 5 or LUPEX. Okay, now it is a joint project between India and Japan, that is ISRO from India and JAXA from Japan, Japanese Aerospace Agency. Now, the thing is that it is basically a lander plus rover mission. Okay, so spacecraft will be launched from Japan. ISRO is building the lander, whereas JAXA is building the rover. In this statement, it is the opposite. Okay, ISRO is developing Chandrayaan 5's rover. No, it is JAXA. ISRO is building the lander. JAXA is building the rover. Now, this is known as LUPEX in Japan, Chandrayaan 5 in India. Okay, and it will also carry some scientific instruments from European Space Agency and NASA. That is correct. Okay, like Chandrayaan 4, it is a sample return mission. Absolutely not. It is not a sample return mission. Okay, it will just explore lunar surface. Okay, so 3 only. The answer is C. Question 3. Which of the following statements are correct regarding UN 1267 Sanctions Committee? So 1267 Sanctions Committee was established to implement sanctions against individuals and entities associated with terror outfits. It functions under United Nations General Assembly to implement UN 1267's resolution. It manages and updates the sanctions list, monitors implementation, and supports the enforcement of sanctions regime. So look, UN 1267 Sanctions Committee functions under United Nations Security Council, not General Assembly. So this statement is automatically false. Okay. Now the purpose of 1267 Sanctions Committee is to create a list in which the names of terror outfits and their members would be written, and economic sanctions would be leveled against these organizations and their members. Okay. And 1267 Sanctions Committee will ensure that these sanctions are properly enforced. Okay, so first statement is correct. It manages and updates the sanctions list, monitors implementation. Absolutely correct. 1 and 3 only. Question 4. Consider the following statements regarding periodic labor force survey. Launched in April 2017, it is a survey for labor force indicators conducted by NSO under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. From May 2025, PLFS shall release labor force indicators on a monthly basis for urban areas only. Previously, rural PLFS data is released on an annual basis and urban PLFS data on an annual and quarterly basis. Okay. So, periodic labor force survey is a survey that reveals data related to employment indicators or labor force indicators. Now, these labor force indicators are labor force participation rate, worker population ratio, and unemployment rate. Okay, so these three things are called labor force indicators. Now, periodic labor force survey was launched on April 2017. It is conducted by National Statistical Office under MOSPI. Absolutely correct. Now, up till now, these indicators were released for both urban and rural areas. For urban areas, it was released on an annual basis as well as quarterly basis. For rural areas, it was only released on an annual basis. Okay. But now recently it has been announced that from May 2025 onwards, it will also release quarterly data for rural areas also. Not only that, it will also release not just quarterly, monthly data for both rural and urban. Okay. So May 2025 PLFS shall release labor force indicators on monthly basis. Absolutely correct. But not for urban areas only. For both urban and rural areas. Okay. Now, previously, before May 2025, rural PLFS data is released on an annual and urban PLFS data on annual and quarterly basis. Absolutely correct. I just mentioned that. So, C. And last, consider the following statements regarding public financial management system. It is a financial management platform for effective tracking of fund flow to the lowest level of implementation for the planned scheme. It is implemented by Controller General of Accounts under Ministry of Finance. Now, this is a pretty straightforward question. Basically, public financial management system is a system through which government tracks all its funding, whether given to state governments, panchayats, or any other government department. Okay. And it is under Controller General of Accounts under Ministry of Finance. So both statements are correct. It is a pretty straightforward question, by the way. So the answer to this question is C. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But like I say this every time, it will add more value if you're consistent with this lecture series. You make it a daily habit. And if you also revise this lecture. And by revision, I mean spending another 5 to 10 minutes taking a look at written detailed solutions to each and every MCQ discussed above. Now, these solutions are available on our notes, and these notes are available on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. So do check that out. And on that note, I'll be signing off with the promise of seeing you again with another set of MCQs. Thank you, everyone.